Hey, Simulator. I hope you're all doing well. I'm doing very well myself. Now, I've had a little look online at the trucks that I want. I know the one I want, which is a Mack truck, and the nearest dealership is in Sacramento. There's only 3 actually in the game. One's in Sacramento. The others are, if I grab my mouse, Yakima and Pendleton. So Sacramento is where we want to go to now. Where we are at the minute is Moab. So we want to get into California. I think I saw a job currently. There's only one. Nothing goes to Sacramento directly, but we do have one which goes to Barstow in California. So we could then head up to Sacramento from there. So that's what we're going to do. I'll earn a little bit of cash along the way. So I hope you guys are doing well. Apparently I'm sleepy, so actually we're going to need to sleep, I think, and then we'll have to reassess what jobs there are. Although we're only 2 minutes away, so we could get the job, and then sleep after we get it. Don't know which one's the best bet. I think this is the best bet because it's literally like round the corner. Oh, we need to go out this way. I don't mind this truck. I just really like the Mack ones. I think there's just something kind of quite cool about them. The way they look. I like the interior as well. It's not as good as some of the European truck interiors in my opinion. But it's got quite a cool looking kind of retro look to it. So I'm looking forward to showing you guys it as well when we actually get there, and seeing what we can get will be quite interesting. But we're heading to California. Good old California. Right, so we want here to Barstow, California. Take job. And then we'll have to do the external camera for this. It's these pipes here, which is quite an interesting little cargo. Goes quite well with our silver truck. I do like the silver truck as well, the kind of grey with the silver trim. This is not a bad looking truck in any way. I just prefer the Mack. A man's truck is, a very personal thing, or a woman's truck. In the same way, your car is a personal opinion type thing. There's bound to be better trucks out there. There's bound to be cheaper trucks. There's bound to be, more powerful trucks. But you got to have a truck you like. If you're going to look at it every day, you're out there trucking away, you've got to have something you like, haven't you? Same with your car. Obviously, sometimes you don't really have a choice. But I do find sometimes when people do have a choice, and they choose just the most boring of boring cars, and I'm like, why would you do that? Like, I don't know. I guess to some people it's not important, and I kind of get that. Some people are really into trainers. I quite like trainers, but I've never understood the absolute fascination that people have with them, who will spend hundreds and hundreds of pounds and collect multiple pairs. I'll usually have like 2 pairs at any one time. I don't see the point in having more than that, and they'll usually be for different things. So it might be like a pair of trainers which I wear in a kind of casual capacity, and it might be a pair of trainers I wear for actual exercise, rather than people who just have multiple different ones. I think in total I own about 4 or 5 pairs of shoes, so I get from a perspective of people who are crazy about shoes, and I'm not. But I do think the difference between a pair of shoes and a car is quite stark. And if you've got to exist in your car a lot, I appreciate you've got to exist in a pair of shoes, but there's a difference, you know. Yeah, I kind of think it's a little odd. What's this place? Oh, that's the recruitment agency, yeah. Which we will do once we get to Sacramento and find this Mac dealership. Next stop we will do, because we will start blacking out in the classic style. Although it's nice, it's kind of 5 AM. We're getting a beautiful view here of Utah, and we'll be out of Utah for a bit, but we'll definitely head up and go back to like Oregon and Washington and those places, because, you know, for those of you who don't know, may just be joining, I lost my save due to a corrupt hard drive, so I've had to start this game from the beginning again. So I haven't got the routes and stuff like that. I haven't got my levels that I had before, which is sad, but you know, ultimately that's the way it goes. I haven't got it for Euro Truck Simulator either. I don't even want to think about that right now, because while I think I had about 25 hours in American Truck Simulator, which is casual at best, I had a lot of hours in Euro Truck Simulator. I probably had like 60 or 70 hours in that, and yeah, I lost that, so that was sad. I did a lot of cool journeys in that, which I really enjoyed. So that's sad, but again, you know, when the new DLC comes out, I'm sure I'll check it out again. This is a beautiful sunrise here. It's 5 AM in the morning. We're trucking across America. Life couldn't be better, could it? There's a place to sleep up ahead. Actually, we'll use that as we're now in the. I think I can just overtake these guys, right? Yeah, that's got to be legal. All right. Do we need petrol? Yeah, we probably could do with some petrol as well. Just get some petrol. Uncle Joe's Stop and Go. So it's like the dodgiest petrol station I've ever seen in my life. There we go. $2.97 for diesel. You tell me if that's a good price, because I don't know. And I think that's by the gallon as well, isn't it? So, I mean, listen, it's way better than anything we would get in the UK. I can tell you that much for free. Our petrol prices are extortionate. They recently really went down a lot because of everybody staying at home, but they're creeping back up now. So I filled my car up yesterday, and it was £1 6p per litre. I don't know how many litres are in a gallon, but let me tell you. Here we go, we'll rest. But let me tell you, America has some good gas prices. Hence the reason why, if people ever wonder why American cars have so much bigger engines than the UK, because you can afford the petrol and we can't. I think that's why as well. Like, I know Teslas are pretty big in America, but I think in general electric cars are becoming bigger in Europe than they are in America. I don't know that for certain, but an educated guess from what I see out on the roads and stuff like that. There's quite a variety of electric cars out there nowadays. Now we get to see the kind of... Why is it like cloudy at 3:30 PM? It's weird. Does that just happen in Utah? Yeah, so if you ever wonder why our cars are different, and you know, it's a lot different fuel prices. I think before the lockdown, it was like £1.20 or something like that. It could be a bit more per litre. So it went to below a pound, and I was like, I filled my car up, which doesn't have a huge fuel tank, by the way. It's a Mazda 2. But I remember filling it up when the prices were at their lowest, and it cost me £25 to fill my tank, and I was like, how? When usually it was about £35 to £38 to fill up my fuel tank. I couldn't. I suddenly looked at the prices and was like, oh, wow, okay. Yeah, big difference. But as I said, they're creeping back up now that people are returning to work, and it's supply and demand at the end of the day. The demand was low, so the price goes down. Demand goes back up, price goes back up. And obviously the UK doesn't produce its own fuel, so we have to import all of ours. America does. And what's going on here? Someone gonna have a crash? Yeah, America does, so you don't have to incur the costs that we do in the UK. Not that I'm jealous, but I am. I'd love a 6-litre Mustang. It would be awesome. Instead, I've got a 1.6 Mazda 2. Such is life. Having said that, I love my car though. I took it in for a service the other day. Long-time viewers may remember I took my car in for a service last year, and it needed a fair amount of work on it. In the end, it cost me about £700, the total work. So that included the service, which was about £180. So I think it was like 2 new tyres, I needed new brakes, a few other bits and bobs. It probably was actually close to about 600, I think, in total. And this time I took it in and I was like, I don't see anything wrong with my car. I hadn't driven it obviously very much in the last few months, but it didn't seem like there was necessarily anything wrong with it. But I didn't think there was that much wrong with it before. I knew the tyres were dodgy, so I knew I was going to incur that cost, but I didn't think the brakes were a problem, but they were. So I took it in for a service this time, and I do a lot of miles in my car. My commute to work is like 80 miles there, 80 miles back at the minute, so I've been probably, at the minute it's that. It was a little bit shorter when I wasn't living with my girlfriend, and it will be a lot shorter when I move, but realistically it's still going to be probably 40 miles, I think. So it's 80 miles a day sort of thing you're doing. So my miles are clocking up. I've got 87,000 on the clock of the Mazda. But yeah, I took it in, and they phoned me up and went, yeah, there's no problems with your car. We've done the service and it's running really nicely. And I was like, amazing, thank you. The only thing they did tell me off for a little bit was using too much supermarket fuel. So it's a lower grade of fuel than you get in something like a proper petrol station, which is why they do charge a bit cheaper. And I don't really mind paying a bit more for petrol if it protects my car, but it's purely a laziness thing because I work next door to a Tesco's, so I just get my petrol there. It's just an easy thing to do without going out of my way. But I will probably endeavour to try using the BP garage down the road rather than the ooh, hello. Oh my god, this is stunning, this place, isn't it? Rather than the petrol station, to try and give my car a good time. I think I'll probably only have it for another year or two, probably 2, and then I'll move on. But it's honestly been such a great car for me. It's a nice car to drive. It's my insurance is like £30 a month. It's that great size where it is like a 5-door. So it's a nice size that people can get in the back of it without that annoying kind of let the seat at the front moving forward. It's got a nice sized boot. It looks good in my opinion. I've got like the Takuya special edition, so it's got nicer trim and stuff like that. But I think overall as a car I like it. It's not like boy racery, but it's not sometimes you get cars and it's not even that they look feminine, it's just that they look just either boring as hell, or they just look like a blob, sometimes. Like, you really wonder about who is styling these cars. And I think the Mazda 2 actually, even the newer ones, I think they're a really nice car actually. Okay, we're gonna have to slow down here. Okay. My girlfriend's got a pink Fiat 500, bright pink Fiat 500, and I love it. I think it's a great car. I actually really like the Fiat 500. Probably don't have those in America because they're such tiny little cars, but they've got a lot of personality. I think as a car they're really fun. I used to own a Ford Ka, and I loved it. I like cars which just do something a little bit different from just the norm, you know, because I don't want to own like a Vauxhall Astra. No offense to like Vauxhall Astra owners out there, but they're just very, and I know a lot of them, or BMW for example. Like I know people love BMWs. I think they look so generic. They just for me personally, they just seem like such a boring car. I'm sure they're lovely to drive. I'm sure they are exceptionally like reliable, and you know the fast ones you get I'm sure go fast, but I just think like the whole look of it is just something that doesn't appeal to me at all. So I'm not too interested in that. I do tend to prefer sort of the Asian car market as well. I think what I'd like to get next would be either a Mazda. Well, I like the Mazda 2, so I might go for a newer model one because they are quite nice. But I think also because I don't really have an issue with having kids, I might go for something sportier like an MX-5. The new versions of those I think look really nice, and they're just kind of fun cars to drive. I think they look good. Convertible would be quite nice every now and then. And yeah, we've got nothing really to put in the back seat, so I don't need back seats because it's a two-seater. If we do need to take the dogs, we can use my girlfriend's car because she doesn't want to give her car up because she loves it so much. Yeah, I think it's a nice enough car. I also like the Nissan 350Z. I've always liked that ever since it came out. I know it's a fairly old car now, but I've always loved that car. Just the styling of it I think is awesome. But yeah, I don't really have any aspirations in my life to have like a supercar or something like that. I was actually talking about this with my girlfriend about like, you know, if we won like a substantial amount of money, like what would you actually kind of spend it on? Because like, you know, I see all these YouTubers, these people on Instagram, these TikTokers or whatever, and they're all you know, flashing their 6 Ferraris or Lamborghinis. I'm always like, at the end of the day, you can only drive one car at a time. And these supercars, while I get the appeal, do not look like they're very nice to just drive around. Say you had to pop to Tesco's, like, I know you probably have something different, but then you're like, when do you drive it? It just seems like a massive pain in the arse to own a supercar because they're so low, they drink so much fuel, that, I mean, sure, you know, you turn heads and stuff like that, but also you probably get a lot of abuse. They're so big and wide that they're really difficult to you know, park or get into a multi-story car park or something. I think I would, you know, as much as you can be like, oh, I'd love to own a Ferrari, I just don't think I would. It was always my ambition as a kid to own a Ferrari. It was like number one on my list. I was like, yeah, I want to own a Ferrari. Loved Ferraris. I still love the look of Ferraris, but now I'm like, I don't want to own one. It's just, it would just cause too much anxiety. Yeah. Smashed up. Better than having a crash though. 3% damage costs a lot less than a crash. Yeah, I should really have looked as I was flying around there. The wing mirror replacement on this I don't like. Usually it's you can see it in this bit, but I can't. I have to angle it like a lot more. So I will say that's a downside for this truck. But yeah, I was saying about like Ferraris. I always wanted to own one. Loved them, but nowadays like they're just so wide and high tech, and they just seem so flimsy. Like I'm sure they're not, but they just seem so flimsy that I'm just like, I just would not want to own one. I'm not a posy kind of guy anyway, so that wouldn't appeal to me. But yeah, I would definitely have something smaller and nippier. Like I've always loved like a Nissan GTR, something like that. I think would be kind of cool. But I'm not a big fan of big cars. Never have been, which is surprising because I'm 6'2" myself. So you'd think like you would want a big car, but I actually kind of prefer a slightly smaller car. They're just so easy to drive around in, a smaller car. I know sometimes people feel safer in a big car, which I get, but I don't think that's the case at all. I remember once someone I know had a car crash, and it was a really nasty one actually, and it was two lorries. They were in the middle between two lorries, and basically their car, like the lorry in front of them, broke. They stopped, but then the lorry behind them didn't stop in time and smashed into the back of their car, which then smashed into the back of the lorry and basically caused it to concertina like a accordion. Horrible kind of crash. And the fireman who cut him out, you know, he was luckily like pretty much uninjured apart from whiplash, and he drove like it was like a little like Ford Fiesta, and the fireman said like if this had been like a big car, you probably would be dead, because there was like a lot less of it, of the car, of the back end of the car to come through the front, if that kind of makes sense. So in other words, if it had been longer and, you know, he'd have hit him, it would have crushed the back more, which could have meant that it came through to the front more. So it's not always like a better thing. I guess it depends on how safe the car is. If it had been a Volvo, it probably would have just bounced off and carried on. But yeah, depending on what kind of car it is. But yeah, if you saw how the car looked afterwards, you wouldn't believe that somebody could have walked out of it. It was absolutely crazy. I think it made it into the papers. And yeah, like we couldn't believe that he lived at all. But yeah, it's crazy. I think personally I've only ever had one car crash of substantial note, other than like being an idiot and like dinging a car or something like that. And that was driving along a motorway, and it was raining. I was a good distance back from the car in front of me. And he just stopped, and he was driving like a much better car than me, and he stopped a lot quicker than I could, and so I just kind of I didn't aquaplane, but I did kind of skid. You know, he had to really slam on his brakes, and yeah, I went into the back of him, unfortunately, and it was all okay. Like I had to get my insurance to cover it and stuff like that, which was a pain in the backside. I lost my no claims, but he was alright, I was alright, so it was all okay. But it was literally a case of like, you have like a top of the range car which can stop really quickly, and I don't. So when you stop really quickly, I probably would have had to have left like 4 or 5 times the distance than he did. And luckily he wasn't even too angry, really. I think basically what happened was I hit his bumper, and it kind of smashed up the front of my car a little bit, and it damaged his bumper. But the reality was most of the damage was on my car than it was on his. Although my airbag didn't go off, which was a little... Well, it was good, because I was actually able to drive my car still. Yeah, it just kind of dented the front rather than like breaking anything. And you know, if your airbag goes off, it obviously makes like a hell of a mess, and then will cost money to replace, etc. Yeah, going across another bridge. Oh, we are. But ultimately, yeah, it was all okay in the end. So I think I like to think of myself as a pretty safe driver. I don't particularly like going fast in a car. Anyway, and I often anticipate events. Like the other day I was at a roundabout in my the town where I live, and I was at the roundabout waiting, you know, and this car was coming around, and it was signalling right, which meant it would be... Oh, I've got to pull in at the way station. Is this the way station? Get off my map. Yes, it is. I thought it might have been. Yeah, he was signaling right as if to come off, which meant, you know, realistically I could have gone. Thank you for your cooperation. You're welcome. Have a great day. Does this mean we're coming into California now? Let me have a look. Yes. No, it doesn't actually. We're coming into Nevada. Sorry. Then we'll go through Las Vegas and Prim, i.e. Fallout, New Vegas. And then we'll head to Barstow. And then from there we'll go up to Sacramento. I'll try and do it in this episode actually. Might be a slightly longer one, but I do really want to drive my new truck. So I was saying, yeah, he was indicating to come off right. And he didn't. And I could have gone and legally, like, he was indicating. So, you know, but there was something about the way he was driving, what he was driving, which was a kind of like souped up like Honda Civic, but a new version. So it wasn't like an old one. Like I'm pretty sure he wasn't like just a teenage kid or something like that. But he was going quite fast around the roundabout, and there was just that little thing in me where I was like, I'm just going to hold off because he's going quite fast, and you just had that like spider sense. And sure enough, like he didn't pull off right, he carried on going. He then, still indicating to pull right, and to pull off left, sorry, he was indicating left, as if he was pulling off. So he's still indicating left, goes past me, there's another exit where he was still indicating left, didn't go there, luckily there was no cars coming out there. And then the next exit, he actually did turn off left. So it was kind of crazy. And I was just like, that could easily have been a crash. Like, I could easily have pulled out, crashed. And I don't know how that works in, like, I don't have a dash cam, which is something I might invest in with the amount of driving I do. So I don't know how much of, like, evidence it would be to prove, to say, I don't know if like your car can record whether you've had your indicators on or not, because if I go to the police and say, listen, he was indicating left, I pulled out, and they're like, well, he says he's not indicating left and you've pulled out and smashed into him, I guess that's on me, you know, like how do you prove it? So I don't know how that works. So yeah, I always err on the side of caution. As I say, something just felt a bit wrong, so I was like, well, I'll just hold off, I'm in no hurry. I think that's where most accidents come in, when people are in a hurry to get somewhere. And I think you have to sometimes remember that it's, you know, better to be late and safe than early and dead. You know, because that's the you know, driving a car is dangerous, you know. And welcome to Nevada. Yeah, awesome. We get to drive through Las Vegas. But yeah, I think people forget, like, driving a car is dangerous. It is probably the most dangerous thing we legally are allowed to do as human beings. You know, we hurtle around at, like, you know, 70 miles an hour down a road in this, you know, a 1.5 ton piece of metal with other people which can be, you know, less than half a metre away from us at any one time. It's an incredibly dangerous kind of thing, and the only training we have is some lessons and then a test we have to pass, which, you know, is however that is in your country, I don't know. In the UK I would say it's fairly stringent, but like a lot of the time people drive one way to pass a test and then drive, oh my god, is that gonna crash? Oh Jesus. Alright. Oh, it's like one of those Red Bull like type things. It's like a stunt plane. That's cool. That's very cool. Yeah, here we are, Las Vegas. Viva Las Vegas. It's a place I would love to go to, Las Vegas. I think it's one of those places, from what people have said, it lives up to the hype. Because I think no one expects to go to Vegas and for things to be clean. Does that make sense? I don't mean like streets free of litter. I mean like no one kind of... you expect it to be a bit seedy, a bit grimy, a bit, you know, of that kind of thing. I think most people do anyway, and I don't think you're disappointed, but you also kind of expect it to be glitzy, glamorous, over the top, you know. And from what people have told me anyway, it does live up to that. That looks like the Bellagio and stuff, doesn't it, over there? Caesar's Palace. yeah, I'm not into gambling in any way, actually, shape or form. I was actually saying the other day to my girlfriend that if I could choose like one thing to kind of, one industry, I guess, to kind of eradicate that I just think does no good to the human race, it would be gambling, because I just don't get the attraction. People don't win money. Like, I know people will be like, oh well, actually there was this time where I won like 200 quid or I won £1,000 something, but the amount of, like, at the end of the day the house always wins. There's a reason why these casinos exist, and it's not because, you know, you've worked out the system and everybody else is an idiot. It's, you know, or yeah, what the hell happened there? That guy just pulled straight into me. That's outrageous, and I get fined $480 for it. Thanks a lot. What a bunch of scumbags. Yeah, I just think it's just, oh, there's Mandalay Bay. And there's the pyramid thing. I don't know what that's called. I just, it's such a horrible industry. Like, the addiction people get, the harm it causes, and the damage. And for what? You know, like, people might say, well, it's like recreational, but I don't even think it is. Like, I don't get when, like, in football matches, people like bet on throw-ins, and people bet on like, you know, oh, which team's gonna, you know, have the most corners this half. That's like betting on black and betting on red. There's no logic to it. I've bet on a few football matches in the past, like £1 bets. I've done some accumulators. That's honestly the most I've ever done is bet £1 before, because I just find it really, I don't know, I just find it quite egregious. I know you're saying, like, you just said you'd love to go to Las Vegas, but I think there's a difference between going on a trip to Las Vegas and you going to casinos and enjoying that for a week, and the kind of the you know, if you've ever been in a betting shop in the UK, it's generally not a pleasant experience. It's generally pretty grimy, pretty you know, the people in there, no offence to them, if you're somebody who frequents a betting shop, you're probably not if you're watching this video. You know, you look in there and you're like, the people in there are not winners. I'm telling you that much. They're not winners. They're people who generally, the look in their eyes is that this is their last hope of you know, of achieving anything in their life, is winning at gambling, and that, by the looks of it, they've been doing it for years and it's never happened. So yeah, I don't like gambling. I don't like it at all, and I don't like the way it's now moving into video games. I mean, it has been for years, hasn't it? But you know what I mean, with like loot boxes, etc. I was reading a story today, actually, on the BBC website about the guy who, you know, he started off quite young, and he went and brought like vouchers for FIFA, you know, for the Ultimate Team, and hiding them from his parents because his parents were not happy about it. They were saying it's gambling. He was like, that's ridiculous. And then he got like a debit card, and then it got worse, and then his mum got ill, and then, you know, in the end he'd saved up like £3,000 for university, and he spent it all on like FIFA Ultimate Team, because the addiction was, you know, opening the packs and hoping to get that player and that buzz. It wasn't even playing the game. It wasn't even playing, using that player on FIFA. I've played FIFA, I've opened the packs. The Ultimate Team, when you've really boiled it down to it, it's not even about playing the game. It's about the playing the game facilitates earning more packs. It's a scary realization when you actually look at it. And I've stopped playing FIFA because of it. I haven't, you know, didn't buy FIFA 20, and I won't ever buy FIFA as they continue to do the Ultimate Team, which will probably be forever. So I'll probably never play FIFA. But when you really actually look at it, you play the game to try to earn more points to buy more packs, you know, and then the thrill of the game is now opening the packs. That is borderline gambling addiction when you actually think about it. It's like, you know, the thrill and the buzz you're getting isn't playing the video game, it's playing the video game to earn money to gamble. which is horrible. I'd advise anybody to just walk away from FIFA. Like, I think it's just a horrible concept now, of a game, and that's before you even get into like the fact that it never changes and there's all these problems with it and all this type of stuff. Like, you might be like, well, listen, I only play career mode, I don't touch Ultimate Team. It's like, fair play. I totally get that, and I'm not here to tell people how to spend their money necessarily, or judge people, I guess, in a way, because listen, millions of people buy FIFA every year and enjoy the hell out of it. But I think when you boil it down, if you really look at the cold hard, light of the day, like, the buzz you're getting from it is the thrill of opening the packs. I see, and it doesn't help that I see these like Twitchers and YouTubers, and I see them all in the trending, and all these clickbait titles of like, oh, look who I've pulled in this pack and stuff like this, and it just like, I feel like that is so enabling. Like, it's encouraging kids. They know their audience is primarily kids, on there, and it's just encouraging these kids to be like, yeah, look at this, you can get this buzz too, just gamble on this, this type of thing. It's totally up there with like the CS:GO skins thing, 100%. Like, when large streamers were just basically streaming that kind of gambling content, it was that kind of like encouraging other people to be like, yeah, look how great I'm doing on this gambling, and you should do it too, and it's it's just really, because a lot of these big streamers doing it, they're earning hundreds of pounds, if not thousands of pounds a video, and they're probably sponsored by EA. Like, they're not spending their cash that they've gone out and grafted 9 to 5, Monday to Friday, and they can barely pay their bills, and then they're spending their last more money than they've got probably on credit cards on packs. They're making money off of it, so it's a completely different thing when you start getting to that point. It's really a horrible like addiction, I think, and we don't do enough in the UK to stop it. It's one of those things. It's like alcohol in a way, which is like, if it was discovered nowadays, it would be banned. Like, because it's just been around for so long that people feel socially acceptable. But when you really look at it, especially alcohol, like, there are, like, you think about it, like in the UK, like, cannabis is legal, but alcohol isn't. Alcohol is legal. So my view on drugs is probably a wide and varied, complicated one. I personally don't do them myself, but I don't really judge people who do. People do them for a variety of reasons, but the cold facts are that alcohol is way more dangerous to people than cannabis is. Like, way more. It's just that because alcohol's been around for years, it's almost socially acceptable. Because the upper class people used to do it, it's almost become like socially acceptable. Because there's an entire industry around it. Pubs, clubs, etc. just wouldn't exist without alcohol. Nothing ever becomes of it. Sad. I'm gonna get behind this guy. I don't know when my turning is. That's just up here. Okay. That went pretty fast, actually. Barstow. So we want to get from Barstow to Sacramento. I'll settle for a town outside, then drive into Sacramento. It's a bit of waste of money if we don't truck some cargo along. We also get to visit these places which we haven't, visited before, so it's quite nice. Here we go. Rail exports. Okay. Where? Play it safe. Oh, no thanks. Okay, it's there. Oops. There we go. Nice. Nice 589. 10 grand and... Ooh, what do we want? Do you want more hazardous? Do you want fragile? High value? I might go for like long distance. I like doing the long distance ones. Okay. So as I said, we want to get up to Sacramento. Let's have a look at what's on the freight market. For where we are. To anywhere close to Sacramento. LA. There's Fresno. That's up. Oh, Stockton's right next to Sacramento, I think. Still 31 minutes away to get to. It's like the other side. Let's just check we are right. Use my mouse. It's quicker. Yeah, it's right next to Sacramento. So we'll just, from there, we'll just drive into Sacramento. Seems like the easiest thing. We've already made like 20 grand since we got this truck, so. Oh, we do need to sleep though. Should we? Yeah, we'll do the thing where we pick up the... Oh, we do need petrol as well. Yeah, actually, you know what? I'm going to go and get petrol and sleep. Is there a petrol station across the road? No, okay, we'll carry on then. There was a petrol station across the road. I would have stopped. This is the fun bit when you get to drive your truck without a trailer. Because it's obviously just so much faster. Okay, there's a petrol station up here. Ah well. Look at me steaming along. Oh yeah, let's do him. We've done him. See you later, sucker. You're running out of fuel. Okay. Don't panic. Gotta be a petrol station around here somewhere. Is there one down here? There's a bed rest. Oh no. Done for speeding. Right. Bit worried about the petrol situation, not gonna lie. Never run out of petrol before. I have a feeling we are going to though. Right, let's pick up this one to Stockton. Yeah, Stockton. Where are you supposed to be going? This way? Here it is. Okay. Need to be on the inside here, not on the outside. Nope, I'm wrong. Okay. Don't hit the massively flammable barrels. Thank you. Right, let's go up here and sleep. And then we work out this petrol thing. I think I might have to go back on myself. As kind of sad as that is. Right. It's going to be a bit of nighttime. Right, it's a world map. Let's have a look. Next petrol station's all the way up there, so we're going to want to go back to Barstow. Yeah. The safest thing. Don't think we'll make it to that other one. There was one about halfway up. Probably would have attempted it. Can we get all the way around here? Ish. This looks like a pretty seedy part of town, to be completely honest with you. Yeah. I hope we slept in our truck and not in one of those shady motel rooms. Okay. We'll just use this camera, I think, for this, and then we want to get on the... Right, which way do we want to go here? I'm not sure, because my sat-nav is telling me both ways. So here we want to go left, don't we? Okay. Come on. We can make it. Maybe you can let me out? Come on, fellow truckers. Do me a solid. No? No one? Nothing? Here we go. Nothing coming that way. I can actually see my petrol gauge on there and it's not too bad. I think we'll make this. It is approaching empty, but it isn't at empty. So I think we'll be okay. We'll make this. Get to drive at night, which is a little bit interesting, I guess. Different from normal. Okay. I really don't like the wing mirror replacement on this truck at all. It really bugs me actually. Okay, cool. And we're going to come off at the next one. For Barstow. across to the left here. Nothing's here. Good to know. And then just pull into the petrol station. Lovely job. Oof, well, this has gone okay so far. We'll take the middle one because it should be easier to turn out of. Doesn't hold a lot of petrol, does it, this particular model? £500. Which, when you think I'm making £10,000 off this one journey, it's not actually terrible. Yikes, I nearly hit that car. He's going to stop, yeah. Knew it. And I'm going to hit him because I'm pretty much hitting him right now. Hasn't counted as a crash. So, wasn't a crash. Didn't count as a crash. It was a gentle nudge. Sometimes you've got to do that, you know. The guy won't move out the way. Okay. There we go. Right. Down here to the right. And off we go. Going past this guy, that's for sure. Just check this route I'm taking. Is this just saying? Oh, hang on. No. Yeah. Yeah, we do turn left here. Cool. Okay. Just checking. Confused me a little bit. Okay. Didn't count as a crash. Didn't count as a crash. Don't know how. Don't know how. But didn't count. Okay. Just get me on a nice straight road and I'm good. None of this pulling into lanes nonsense. Apparently it's 10:44 AM, but it's pitch black. Oh no, that's my ETA. Sorry, it's 3 AM. Fair play. Now I realise what I was doing wrong. We're going to do him. Getting his slipstream. The Joker's pulling over himself. Oh my god. Okay, so we'll be there in daylight anyway. It's another pretty long journey. It would be like 700 miles we would have done this episode actually by the time we get to it, but I'm actually not going to buy the truck this episode because it will be super long, but next episode we will buy the truck. So I'll drive from Stockton to Sacramento, drive around, try and find this dealership, buy the truck, because it'll take us a while to outfit it how I want it. Anyway, so this will be like an hour and a half video, and I don't think I can quite afford to have that long a video as much as people would probably enjoy it. but then does at least allow me to have the truck buying at the beginning of the next episode, which people will probably find a bit more interesting. And I can entitle it New Truck Who Dis, and seem like I'm really cool. I can do a thumbnail with picture of my face, like with a really like exaggerated surprise look, and I'll put loads of like red arrows and circles around things that won't make any sense on the picture of the truck, and like I'll have my face with like my hands either side, a la the Scream, and I'll entitle the video "You Won't Believe What Happened When I Brought This Truck," or yeah, that's probably a good title. Yeah, you wouldn't believe what happens with this truck. And I'll get like 3 million views. That's how to win YouTube, in case anybody is wondering. I'm only half joking as well. And the thing is, I know a lot of people, you know, who like, well, I know most people who do that sort of thing. They do it because they're like, well, it works. And you can't argue with them usually. Like, you can't argue because they're like, well, it works. You know, you do this, you see it. You know, I'm a big fan of like Linus Tech Tips, and they do it not to that extent, but they do kind of clickbaity style kind of like expressions on the front of it with like clickbaity titles and stuff like that. And you know, they did a whole video about it where they were like, yeah, we know that a lot of our core audience hates this, we totally appreciate it, but the fact of the matter is that like the money we get from YouTube is what keeps this channel going, and as a result we have to try to build on YouTube and get as many views as possible to finance more videos. So it totally makes sense. Like I get it, I just hate it. It's the kind of the, I don't know, it's always been that thing for me of like, do I sell my soul, you know, to the devil, the clickbait devil? Ooh, tumbleweed. Oh, I have never seen that before in the game. That is awesome. That is so cool. Yeah, do I sell my soul to the clickbait, you know, devil to increase my views, or do I just stick with what I believe is you know, do I believe in treating my viewers as adults? Yes. So I don't think I'll be, yeah, I don't see a situation where I'm like, oh, I need to start doing something. I think I would hate myself too much to do thumbnails like that and use clickbaity titles, and then also if I was like, what I could also do is like, instead of putting up like half an hour to hour long videos, I'll edit them all down to like 10 minutes, and I'll have like 3 minutes at the beginning of just some really egregious like intro video, which I've paid like for on Fiverr or something, where it's like really loud and it makes all like these futuristic type noises, and then it'll come up with like my logo at the end, which will be like made out of like 40 different robots or something all moving together, and I'll be like, yeah, that's the first 3 minutes of the video. Then there'll be like a load of shots to kind of like endear myself to the audience, like in a human style. So there'll be the kind of like a little bit of like outtakes at the beginning of like me like setting up my mic, but the mic like accidentally like falls over or something like that, and then that'll all like be cut into the beginning, and then I'll be like, oh, finally we're getting started, you know, in the video. Oh, thanks a lot, guys. Remember to give this video a like and a subscribe, and make sure you hit that bell notification, everyone. I'm making myself laugh now, because the thing is, I know people do all this, and I'm not saying it in a way of like being like, oh, this is like disgusting, whatever. I'm just like, I don't believe that the people who are doing it believe in what they're doing. Does that make sense? I believe they're doing it because they're like, I just want to get more views, and it works. They're not like, they don't think like, oh, that's a really nice thumbnail. Or they don't think like, oh, this is a really nice like Oh, it'll be. This is a really great intro. Oh, it's so cool. It makes me look so professional. Oh dear. The thing is, I can kind of talk about this when you get into a longer video because, most of the time it's more of my actual subscribers who get this far. People who, well, my analytics say anyway that most of the time people click off my videos within the first 10 seconds, which I always find quite amusing. But there's a Peterbilt dealer we could go to, Bakersfield. Don't like Peterbilt trucks. Yeah, so I know that kind of like the people watching are probably, what would I want to say, a bit more of the kind of, a bit more my kind of people. If you're watching now, you're a bit more of my kind of people. I mean that no offence to the 10-second people. Your views are well, they're not as valuable as the people who watch longer, are they? That's clear. Watch time is important for a channel, but you're appreciated nonetheless. That you chose to click on a non-clickbaity thumbnail and non-clickbaity title. And people will say like, well, it's not clickbait, and I agree to the actual definition of clickbait, which is causing, well, clickbait used to kind of be like, it meant misleading, didn't it? So it meant like someone would say something on there and it was straight up misleading for what the actual video was about. When you think about what clickbait is, it's baiting people to click on a video by over exaggerating the actual contents of things, but I don't understand though, like for me, being able to do like a custom thumbnail, which have been around on YouTube for a long time, and I appreciate not, like, it's quite an early thing you get in your kind of YouTube journey, shall we call it, being able to customize your own thumbnails. That's a nice bridge, or sign. Is it a sign rather than a bridge? I think so. Yeah. I don't get why you would then want to make your thumbnail look exactly like everyone else's. That doesn't make any sense to me. Like, I've recently kind of changed my branding up, and I thought to myself, like, I should definitely have a style or something in my thumbnails which people know from a quick glance that that's ASMRplays. So that's why I kind of went with the kind of rainbow colours. It's bright. I like bright, colourful things anyway, but it's bright, colourful, and at a quick glance you can be like, that's will trigger. Hopefully, the idea is it will trigger a thought in your head to that you'll be like, that's an ASMRplays video. Dude, what are you doing? Just pull out, they'll move over. Why is no one... I would have pulled over to the other lane to let people move on. Yeah, the hipster beard anyway, so I'm not impressed with him. Here we go. Yeah, I was saying, I don't know why you would then make your thumbnails look like everyone else's. I do not get it, but there's a lot of things about YouTube I don't get, clearly, but the reason why I have like 7,000 subscribers and not 700,000 subscribers, I guess. That and my content isn't good enough, but it's another matter altogether. But yeah, I don't get a lot of things people do on YouTube. But hey, Ninja's streaming on YouTube now, so that's interesting. Don't know if anybody saw it. I was intrigued to know how many viewers he would have, and he had like 100,000, which you would have to say that will drop a lot, on his next stream and stuff like that. It's a lot of it is about, like me, people checking in and be like, oh, I wonder how Ninja's doing, and it's like a new thing. I didn't really watch to see like the quality of the stream because I had it on my phone and stuff like that. of it all, but it looked pretty much like a normal kind of ninja stream. I can't admit to watching a lot of his stuff. I find him a little bit of an abrasive character, to be honest with you. Not someone I really want to watch, but I totally respect that he has been a bit of a pioneer in the kind of streaming industry, in the streaming game, which people do forget about a little bit. Like, a lot of those brand deals that people are getting now is because Ninja was one of the first ones to start doing them. I'm not saying you have to like the guy, but you have to respect, that he kind of took it to another level. He kind of legitimized streamers to a point where, big companies like Adidas, Gillette, are in the same way they would sponsor professional athletes. They're sponsoring, streamers. It's being treated like an actual, proper professional, high level career, which is, a lot down to him, to be fair. So whatever you think of him personally or the quality of his streams, you kind of have to respect the hustle there. But it is interesting because, I have obviously been talking about streaming a lot and wanting to get into it, and I'm still no closer to moving house. It must be happening soon. One awesome bit of news though was that the UK government announced that stamp duty, which is a tax you pay when you move house, there's actually raising the amount before you get taxed. So it used to be that after 100, when you bought a house, if the house cost more than 125,000, however much more than 125,000 you would pay tax on of 2%, and then after, I think it was 250,000, you'd then pay 5% on anything after 250,000. That makes sense. So essentially, if you bought a house for like 200,000, you'd have to pay 2% on £75,000, which is not insignificant. They, as of yesterday, to me, which was Wednesday the 9th of July, I think, the UK government announced to try to stimulate the economy because it's going to be fucked. They are raising the stamp duty limit to 500,000. So any house that you buy under 500,000, which I would imagine would be a good sort of 90% of properties in the UK, you won't pay stamp duty on at all. So somebody who hasn't moved house yet, that means I actually saved about £2,300, which is awesome. I have no problem with that. My girlfriend are really happy about that. We're going to put that towards our wedding next year, and also a few bits around the house as well. So that's just a really awesome little bit, and hopefully it will help to kind of kickstart the economy. There was a kind of it wasn't an emergency budget, but they were outlining some extra things which they're going to be doing in the UK to try to help help us out of what everyone is predicting will be just a massive recession. There are jobs going left, right and centre everywhere because because COVID-19 it's just a fucked up situation for everyone, and it's a scary time. There are companies out there which have grown, and hopefully they will be taking more people on, and one of the things that they've also brought in is that if for every employee that firms are retaining from now until who were furloughed, I think from now until I think like January next year, might be a bit later, might be like March, the company gets £1,000 per employee. So that's kind of a little incentive there to help people along a bit. Sure, it's not going to pay someone's entirety of wages, but if someone's making like, I don't know, £1,000 a month or something like that, then you're effectively getting a month free, which isn't something to be sniffed at, especially if you've got like 50 employees. It's £50,000, or you've got 100 employees, or even more for some big companies. So a company like the one I work for, where they furloughed like most of their staff, 26 people were furloughed at my particular site. So that's £26,000, which if we keep all of them, which we hopefully intend to do, that's £26,000 that we can get. It's not bad. Some companies are kind of complaining because they're like, well, we've had our people working throughout we haven't used the furlough scheme, so then we're kind of being punished a bit if we then don't want to keep people on. But generally the firms which didn't use the furlough schemes are the ones which actually did okay. So yeah, I wonder though if a lot of companies will suddenly like furlough staff for like a week, just to be like, oh yeah, we did furlough this person, so we'd like £1,000 when they don't actually need to. Horrible when people try to find loopholes and like stuff like that. It's not a particularly nice situation when there's so many like people out there who, or companies that actually do need that money, but that's just the way of life, isn't it, I guess. But yeah, they're doing other things like apprenticeships. People can claim back like £2,000 from the government if they keep them on their apprenticeship for like 6 months and stuff like this. There's like incentives to employ. I think hospitality VAT has dropped from what is currently I think 20% to just 5%. So it doesn't necessarily mean that like the cost of going for a meal is going to go down. What it does mean is that the company will make more money off each meal. So if they are effectively having to serve less people because they have to socially distance, tables are having to be kept a metre apart, they're having to invest in more staff, then they can at least make a bit more money per table to try and cover that cost a little bit, which is good. I'm not a big fan of the Conservative government, in particular Boris Johnson, but I do feel that from the Chancellor's point of view, some of the stuff he's done has been on paper it's looked good. I would say that much. And our Chancellor Rishi Sunak does seem like a pretty switched on kind of guy, and he comes across well in the speeches he takes. He comes across well just in general, and some of the kind of policies and stuff like that he's kind of come up with, or his teams have come up with, have seemed like they are like there to. One thing Conservatives often get criticised for, the Conservative government in the UK, is that they generally look after them and their mates, so they look after the rich and kind of fuck the poor. But it does seem like they are helping, whether that's because whatever reasons, like, oh well, we don't, if we see all these people out of work at these companies, that won't help the rich or whatever. I don't know, whatever the reasons are, but it does seem like there's some good policies there. And the stamp duty is a good thing as well. Like, I'm sure a lot of people who have been cooped up in their homes for, I know from talking to people who have been like, since I've had to spend a lot of time at home, I've realised I don't like my home. Like, where I only had to spend like some evenings there or whatever, like I put up with this stuff, but where I'm suddenly having to spend a lot more time at home, I'm suddenly like, oh, I really don't actually like this home. So I kind of get where people are coming from. Like, moving house is an incredibly expensive thing. Like, we've spent out probably close to £800 on moving at the minute, and that's not including obviously things like your deposit and stuff like that. So moving house is incredibly expensive, and some people might just be like, well, I just straight up can't afford to even if I want to, which is like totally understandable. But it might, that kind of zero stamp duty might, and it's on until I think April next year, I think it will trigger some people to be like, I think we should probably release a bit of equity from our property right now and move, or do whatever. And so hopefully it does kickstart. The other thing is house prices are at the lowest they've been in 8 years in this country because of the lockdown. So while myself and my girlfriend, we've saved £2,000 on stamp duty, it's worth noting that when we move into a house, it won't be worth the money we paid for it. Like, as soon as we buy it, it probably will be worth like 20 grand less. But so you might be like, well, why are you buying it? But the answer is, like, because we do love the house. That's the fee we agreed before this happened, and we also believe that the house market will recover by the time we want to move. We're not doing this as an investment. If we were doing this as an investment, we would have pulled out by now. We're doing it because we want somewhere to live for the next 5, 6, 7 years of our life, and by that point you would imagine that the housing market would have recovered a bit, and we would have made some money back on the house. Maybe not as much as we would have made if not for COVID, but such is life. Such is life. I've said this many times to many people, but if you get out of this and all you've done is you've lost a little bit of money, then you're lucky. You have absolutely nothing to complain about, because there will be people who have lost far more, and that is a situation I hope nobody's kind of in, basically. Oh, screw the bloody police, man. Screw the police. We're nearly there anyway. Nearly finished on this super long episode. At least we would have saved up a fair bit more for our next truck. Tick tock, tick tock. So we are in Stockton now. I took that corner very badly. Don't know what I was thinking. And then we will head to Sacramento, to the Mac garage, and buy ourselves a truck. These roads are just way too clear. I guess it wouldn't really be fun if you were constantly stuck in traffic jams and stuff like that, would it? So the Mack trucks are, I believe, like the newest trucks in the game. They only came in, I think, this year. So that's kind of cool. I was tempted by the Volvo I could have repped a Volvo for the European market, but they just look ugly as hell, so I didn't want to be completely honest. I like this truck apart from the wing mirror replacement. Other than that, I'm actually quite a fan of it so far. Here we go though, we have nearly finished our 2 trips of probably close to 800 miles. Pretty happy with that. Let's play it safe. Deliver to you all your rocks. There we go. Oof. Oh, we got another one. We go long distance again, so rank 4 up to 6. Okay. Nice long distance one. Okay. 331,000. Next time we will be going to Sacramento. I imagine to there. It's just up the road, so it won't take too long. But till then, guys, thank you for watching. It's been my pleasure. I hope you've been doing well. And I'll see you soon.